All right, everyone. Well, you're joining in on take two of this. um,
So Dylan and I are just out for a walk, and we were just kind of discussing like laziness, like what's lazy and what's not. And we literally been walking for 10 minutes, thinking we
uh,
were like, sharing this conversation with you. We didn't. It was really good. We're gonna try and do a take two of it.
the first take was so good.
So what we were kind of talking about, I was asking Dylan like for one hard thing a day, like how do we know the difference between like when we're being lazy versus maybe when we have something bigger going on, like a mental health issue.
Yeah, and so again, we're saying this the
Wish
second
you would have
time,
been with us the
so
last 10 minutes.
you missed some really good stuff. Hopefully, we can get it across again. But yeah, no, I think anytime that there's this chronic laziness, anytime we're stuck in a negative pattern, that's a really good cue to me as a therapist to say, okay, there's probably something more going on. There's some anxiety or depression or another another thing at play that's feeding into that. So at that case, I would say you're not being lazy. You probably have some sort of mental illness or mental struggle that you're dealing with.
Yeah, so I know that for me, like laziness is temporary,
Yeah.
right? Like there may be like, oh, I know I have the time and the energy to go do the dishes. I just don't want to right now, so I'll watch a show instead.
Mm-hmm.
But typically, like a couple hours later, or very latest the next day, I'm doing the dishes, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I started my one hard thing a day kind of practice was at the height of my like the height of my mental health issues, and it really was something where every day it was hard to get out of bed and take a shower. And my one hard thing a day sometimes would be get out of bed, take a shower, put on clean
Mm-hmm.
pajamas, and go back to bed. And realizing like, oh, my body's not working right? Like
Yeah.
something is broken, but it's like it's broken like a broken bone. I just need help from a doctor to get things in balance, right? And so it's like I got on medication, I went to therapy, and so now my one hard thing a day is 2 weeks ago I wrote a 30-page paper, right? I showered, I got dressed, I did the dishes, and I wrote a 30-page paper, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm just realizing that some of my struggles of me being lazy wasn't actually laziness. It was my mental health was off, and I literally didn't have the tools and the resources internally to like do those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love that. Like, as you know, going back to not comparing, right? Everybody in this one hard thing a day challenge, some people are going to be businessmen trying to close a multi-million-dollar deal, and some of you are going to be like me when I started, where getting out of bed to shower feels almost impossible, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where when I have someone come in and they're talking about being lazy, a lot of the times I want to reframe that and say, okay, how much of this is laziness and how much of this is your body's trying to take care of you?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
body's trying to say, the reason we're staying in bed till 10 o'clock or that, I can't get up to wash the dishes and they're piled up and kids are screaming and half dressed and there's a pile of diapers on the floor. All these things that every parent can, I'm sure, relate to at least once in their time with their kids. That's a sign that we're probably overworked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our body's screaming at us saying, please just let us rest, let us catch up. And so that laziness is really just a cue to, can be a cue to really look at your day, look at what's on your plate and say, okay, how can I restructure?
Well, and that message of I'm lazy can be really damaging, because
Mm-hmm.
I know that as my mental health got in more balance, right? And I really have done a lot of intensive schoolwork the last 9 years. One thing you've told me is like, slow down.
Yes.
You don't have to do everything or be everything. And I've realized that a lot of that comes back from when my mental health was messed up, telling myself, you're so lazy.
Yeah.
You're so lazy. Everybody else can do this. Like, so-and-so does this and so-and-so does that. Why aren't you doing it? Well, you're lazy. And to reframing myself, like reframing or reteaching myself what lazy means and what lazy looks like. And, watching a show on my phone instead of doing the dishes immediately isn't a sign of laziness. Sometimes it's a sign that, like, I need rest or relaxation or fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, this is Dylan with One Hard Thing. Just interrupting real quick to ask you to comment, like, and subscribe if you're finding the video to be helpful, or share it with someone if you think it'd be helpful to them. All right, I'll get out of your way. I think this really goes back to that idea of in Tenet 4 where our brain tries to fill in the missing pieces,
Yeah.
of the puzzle.
Yeah.
So, our brain is going to say, okay, like this task is incomplete. The dishes are still dirty. We need to wash them. But your body's saying, I don't have the energy to do it. And the brain wants to complete the task. So how it completes the task by saying, oh, you're just lazy.
Yeah.
But again, really reframing that, trying to find a different way of looking at it and trying to create that balance. Some of these things, especially when we're battling mental illness, these one hard thing a day, those challenges that we take on for ourselves are going to be a lot about shifting our lifestyle, shifting our perspective of ourselves, and really doing some hard changes.
Yeah.
Like similarly for me, like I'm on this mental health journey of trying to become a healthier, more balanced person. And it's taken considerable change that is applied through that consistency of one hard thing a day. But like it is changing how I look at the world and how I look at myself.
Well, and for me, that honest look at myself means that when I am avoiding or being lazy, when I'm avoiding those dishes, I can just gut check.
Yeah.
And I can say, am I just trying to avoid something that sounds annoying or dumb? Or do I need rest? Right? And if I'm just like, I don't want to do it, there's no good reason, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to do the dishes for 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, I can sit on the couch and watch a show.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where I'm like, the dishes will wait. Right? Like my rest, my relaxation, my fun, whatever it is, whatever that motivate, like that my body says it is then prioritized. And so I'm learning how to like have that an honest dialogue with myself, not let my brain just complete the picture and make up whatever story it needs, but like learning myself and then holding myself accountable to not being lazy or relaxing when I need it.
Yeah. Well, it just made me think about like you were talking, or you said earlier, like how I often said like, hey, you need to slow down. I think that's an important principle for some of the people watching this. Is sometimes the one hard thing a day is taking the time to create that balance for ourselves, where we're feeling burned out, and yes, we're able to get a lot done, but it doesn't feel satisfying. Or we look at it and we get to the end of the day, and yes, we got the kids to all the practices, we got the house clean, we talked to a neighbor, we made dinner for someone, and we finished the day and we're like, well, that felt horrible. Like I still feel awful. That's really that time to check in and say, okay, maybe that one hard thing has to be something that's focused on yourself.
Yeah. Well, but like what you probably don't even notice is like when Dylan was encouraging me to like slow down, like you don't have to do everything all the time. You can slow down. I actually started scheduling it in my calendar. like rest and relaxation, or read a book, or take a bath, or go swim. Like swimming laps is really fun for me. I really enjoy it. So it was like I started scheduling those things in to kind of trick my brain that I was like still doing a task and being productive, even though I was like helping my brain learn how to like rest and recuperate.
Yeah. No, and that definitely is something that we all have to do that. We all have to make the time. Sometimes people just have an open enough schedule, and they have the luxury of not having a busy schedule, and so that it may not be that challenging to fit your one hard thing in, fit in self-care. But for a lot of us, we have a lot of things, we have a lot of responsibilities. We have to work to make sure our needs are met and our family's needs are met. So it is going to have to be something that's scheduled in.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and when our body is dysregulated, right? Like if we injure a body part bad enough, we have to teach that body part how to work properly again. And mental health does that too, like our mental and emotional state, right? I had to reteach myself that balance of productivity and then like that rest and recuperation time.
Yeah.
And so I had to teach my body a different way of being.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Okay, well, I hope you guys like this format. We just wanted to try talking about a subject and see how it went. Just kind of share our candid thoughts. about it. So let us know in the comments what you thought of this format, if you want to see more of these. We're not often in person.
But we could do like a Zoom one or something.
We could do Zoom ones, yeah. We live on opposite sides of the country, but we're just together for the week. And so let us know, and this is certainly something we can do in the future. All right.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one. Bye.
See ya.